Hi, this is Lynn from Captain's Mix and Magic, and today we're going to make French macarons. We're going to use our beat-up baking tools and veteran oven for this video. So that's 2 egg whites, a pinch of cream of tartar, just a pinch of cream of tartar, 1/4 refined white sugar, a fourth and half a cup of ground almonds. That makes 3/4 cup of ground almonds, and 1 cup of powdered sugar, just 1 cup. So that's all you need for macaron shells. Now we're going to mix it. It's composed of 2 mixtures, the macaronage and the meringue. So first is sifting the powdered sugar and ground almonds. We need a sieve for this. There. So the powdered sugar goes in and you sift it. This aerates the powder and makes it lighter, and once combined with the ground almonds, it makes the base for the macaron shells. And because you've sifted it together, it's evenly distributed and it's lighter, thus it's easier to fold into the meringue later. So here's how I sift it together. I use the cup to push it through the lumps. And for the bigger bits of almond nuts, I can use it later for a different cookie or use it as a topping, or maybe since it's almond, maybe I can put it in pesto, and that would be fine. So this is the first sift of the powdered sugar and the almond together. Yep. So as you can see, it's still clumping together, and the sifter needs assistance of tapping. This is normal for the first sift, but later on you will see on the second, on the third sift, it's lighter and more evenly distributed, and that would be easier to fold into the meringue. So this is the second sift. You can do it this way, or you can also sift it onto a different bowl. That would be fine. But for me, this is also effective mainly because I don't have to have additional bowl to wash at the end of this mixing procedure. And since it works, it's what I use. And this is the third sift. See, it's easier to sift now without any assistance of tapping with my other palm, and we're good to go. The dark spots that you see from the ground almonds are bits and pieces of the skin, so that's fine. And now we're ready for the meringue. I'm going to use a mixer for this, and it also helps that your pitcher would accommodate the beaters exactly to the size or a little bigger than the area of the beater. This maximizes the egg whites that you're going to whip. As you can see, it easily foams up, and you don't need much of movement around the bowl or around the pitcher because it mixes itself. So we add the cream of tartar, continue beating, and then add the refined sugar. This procedure of making meringue is the French method. There are 2 other methods on making the meringue. We call it the Swiss method, where you do this while it's double boiling. That semi-cooks the egg whites. And the other procedure is the Italian meringue method, wherein you cook the sugar with, let's say if you're using 1/4 cup of sugar, you cook it in 1/8 cup of water, and then it has to be cooked to a syrup, a thick syrup, and then you will pour it into the egg whites, and then you make the meringue. For me, this is the easiest, it's the fastest, and it has less dishes to wash again. So I love making macarons in the French method. Also, this is the method that worked for me and generated more consistent results. For others, they find one or the other method better, and again, that is also based on how you do the procedure yourself. So as you see, the flip that I make, the meringue is solid, so we're okay and we're good to go. So we have two of the mixtures ready, the meringue and the macaronage, and we're now going to fold them together. So you don't fold the meringue all at once, just maybe scoop about half of the meringue and then fold it into the macaronage. And once the ground almonds and the powdered sugar assumes a paste texture, that's when you fold the rest of the meringue in. So now we've put the first half of the first half of the meringue mixture into the macaronage to make the macaron. What am I saying? So there. So you scrape the sides and then lightly press. Scrape the sides and lightly press because it's still a bit dry. So what you want to do is create a bit of a foamy paste with this portion of the meringue. And once you have achieved that, that's when you add in the last half of the meringue. There. For bigger batter quantity, sometimes you do it in thirds. But the point of folding this way is you retain as much of the foam of the meringue, at the same time combine it with the macaronage and evenly distribute the flavor of the almond into the meringue mixture. So right now I am rotating it and then pressing it a bit, but you also have to be careful because this is the most sensitive stage in making a macaron. You need to find the pressure that is just right. This is also why you need to practice maybe doing several batches. For me, to be able to get to this point of identifying the texture that I like, I think I've made maybe 7 or 8 batches in so many occasions before I got the result that I like. A lot of variables are involved, so right now the critical point is the folding. So as you can see, I have reached the point that I like. So you see the flow from the spatula. It's like a flowing lava, and I like it that way because it flows, but at the same time as it drops, it keeps its shape. It means that the macaron, once it's piped, it won't collapse, and that's important for me because I like the domed macarons in the output. So now we're going to put these macaron batter into a piping bag. So you have to fit a round nozzle tip in a 12-inch piping bag. This is supposed to hold all the macaron batter that you've mixed. I like mixing macaron per bag batch, meaning one batch fits in one bag. And this is also a trick that I've discovered, that you have to flip the other end in to limit mess and to keep the macaron mixture inside the bag as you fill it, because I want all of the macaron batter that I've mixed to fit into the bag, and it works with a 12-inch bag. Now for some, they can make it in bigger batches because, well, they've gotten the hang about handling the macaron mixture. But for me, I like it this way because it ensures that I won't overfold what's left in the bowl, because what I get from the bowl goes into the bag immediately. Like that. So for those who want their macarons to be of different color, you can put food color in the meringue mixture, or you drop food color or liquid food colors into the mixture as you fold. So those are two ways in which you can color your macaron. But for me, if I do color the macaron, I color them by batch. I don't separate it this way and then color that, because again, it would agitate the batter and you have the tendency to overfold macaron mixture if you color it once you've already folded the two mixtures together. So you adjust the color and you keep the other end tucked upwards, and fill the bag with the rest of the batter that you have made. And you can seal it with the bag itself. You can gather the wider end together, and it ensures that you have all of the macaron batter, all of the macaron mix inside the bag without much of a mess and without wasting more of the almond that you already have. So there, you can push the other end and we're good to go. So pipe macarons at a 90 degrees angle and slightly move the tip around to guide the shape, mainly because this batter is thicker, thus it does not spread really fast. As you can see, it holds its shape. So I like my macarons like this one, and for some they like it a bit thinner because it spreads or it has less bubbles. But for me, I like it this way because this is the texture that worked with the oven that I'm using, and the pressure that I use with my hands. This is the texture that works for me. So these are generally a larger size of macaron. I think this is almost 2 inches in diameter. So what I did was I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then circular motion to cut the flow, and then moved on to the next. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and next. So that's the counting that I did earlier. Now we're going to do the smaller sized macarons, and it's going to be guided by this mat because this one has the markers for macaron size, and it's going to be of the same size because it already has the marker. So if you hit the end like that, you can stop. 1 2 3 stop. 1 2 3 stop. 1 2 3 stop. 1 2 3 stop. So for the shells earlier, I had 2 extra counts, so it's a wider macaron shells. So again, it's 90 degrees piping tip with the plain nozzle tip, plain round nozzle tip. And important part as well in preparing the macaron shells is you tap the tray before you let it set. Okay. So we have a bubble inside the pan, like there you can guide the batter so it assumes the round shape again. So don't panic if the batter bursts, you can still adjust it. So there is the tapping of the tray. It releases the bubbles that may have formed as you pipe. And this tray now is ready for setting. We'll wait for it to set. And we have a little bit more of the batter left in the piping bag, so there's going to be another tray, but it won't be as much or as many as the shells that we have piped earlier. I think yeah, that's the third and the last tray that we're going to pipe, and I think I've decided to make it the bigger shells this time again. So as you can see, this mat has the markers on the other side and unmarked side on the other side. So I'm using the other side, the one that's not marked. 1 2 3 4 5 stop. 1 2 3 4 5 stop. There. So that's my counting for that size. I think this was able to make 6 more shells. So I'm on the last 2. So this batch makes about 15 pieces or 15 sandwiches of macaron for the bigger size and 24 sandwiches of macarons with the smaller size. We're out of macaron mixture and the bag is empty, and now we're letting the macaron shells to set. So tapping the last tray, and then after 30 minutes to an hour, you have to check. It takes a bit longer on a humid day. You have to check if it is like this, it doesn't stick to your finger anymore, and it's dry but it's still soft, that's ready to be baked. So we set the oven at its lowest temperature or its lowest setting, which registers 120 to 150 degrees Celsius, and we pop the tray in, and we keep it there for up to 30 minutes, but you don't take a peek on the first 20 minutes. I think this one was about 20-25 minutes into the oven, and I took a peek, and it has feet, and they evenly cooked. So as you can see, the oven is still on. You can see the blue flame there, and I'm touching the macaron. I can touch it because it's cooking at a low heat. There, see the blue flame right there underneath. And I have here the pink matte macarons. If you don't have the silicone mat, you can use a parchment paper, but make sure you brush it with a mixture of oil and flour, but not too much, just a bit. That is if you don't have a mat, but if you have the macaron mat, that's better. You don't need to brush it with anything, it doesn't stick. So this one is the cooked macaron shells on the pink tray, so I don't have to figure out which piece would fit or would match another shell. Unlike this one, I have to match this one because it doesn't have a marker, so they have a difference in diameter, like maybe an eighth of an inch or maybe a fraction of a centimeter. So I have to find the shells that match most. So the feet would have to come together and the diameter would have to be the same. So this one I think is a fairly good match for a macaron sandwich. The other one is a bit wider, and there's another shell there that's just as wide. And here we have put buttercream icing in a piping bag with a nozzle tip that's formed a star. So we pipe small rosettes or dots onto the macaron and then press the other half to sandwich them together. So infusing the buttercream with different flavors could also give you a different flavored macaron. Some would fold it with ganache and be able to make chocolate macarons, and the macarons that are used would have a bit of cocoa powder in it, so you have chocolate macarons. Some would use some coffee powder or espresso into the buttercream and then add a bit of cappuccino powder into the macarons, and they get cappuccino or mocha macarons. I've also seen different flavors of fruits infused into the macaron mixture as well as into the buttercream mixture. So maybe in the coming videos I can show you how you can flavor the macaron shells, how you can play with the filling, and maybe also make customized designs for your macaron shells, because you can also do that too. As much of a design that you can make for meringues, you can also do that with macarons. And that's why we love this cookie so much. It's because once you get the hang of making it, it gives back so much of a flavor to you, and you get to play with different flavors of the same cookie. We like almond macarons with fresh fruits, especially grapes and even fresh oranges. Enjoying it with fresh fruits kind of tones down the guilt because it's a really good treat for you. And there's the sandwich. They look like really white burgers. There is a satisfaction as you press them together like that and you see that they match. And the filling and the buttercream just squishes in between them. Just perfect. And now we arrange them onto the tray. Well, like I said, I like it with fresh fruits, and we'll be enjoying this one with seedless grapes. Yay! And we'll be arranging the macarons around it or to its side, like so. And 2 more, and we're done for the day. So I hope you enjoy this recipe, and let me know once you have made it yourself, let me know how you did, and if you need help, just message me down at the comment section. Thanks to Papa and Nanay for the mixing bowl and tools, Ate for the oven, Mom and Dad for the mixer and the venue this afternoon, and thanks to Pinoy Video Gamer and Capture Clicks for video editing. Have fun, practice. Thank you.